We are live.
Yay!
Hello, everyone. Hey, Miss A, Amanda, and Nana, Dave G. You are awesome. Thank you for sharing that as usual. I should start adding that in the description.
Wait.
Oh, hey, Dave.
I already got it.
Irvin, Laura, Jessica, Jock Girl, and hey, Kate. You're welcome here if you're going to be respectful. If you're going to be nasty, I'm just going to kick you out. It's my channel, and I don't have to deal with that BS. So if you will be respectful, your opinions are welcome. But if it's going to be nastiness, you're out. Sorry.
It'll be fine. We can all get along.
And yes, the wrenches. I did today start doing a shakeup of the mods. Some of y'all I haven't seen around for a long time, so I just took them off. And then today, when I made this live stream, one of my members who pays monthly to be a member and help with that extra support for me was blocked or hidden from my channel, and that's unacceptable. So that's actually what made me do it, because it's not acceptable. Hey Tammy, hey Christy, Jenny, hey Emma, hey everyone, Sunshine. I think well, at least she's trying. It should be streaming on KK's channel as well.
I actually just cut it down. I'm not even gonna worry about it. I don't I'm not gonna try to get anyone to be like, if they're gonna be sidetracked by it not working or working, I don't even want to worry about it. I'll just go back. I'm gonna go live with them anyways, like in an hour and a half, so I'll just talk to them then.
There we go. That looks better.
No big deal.
Hey Nita. Hey Tasha. Jay. Shan, my love. I love you. Please let KK is not live streaming, LOL.
Yeah, I just cut it. I'm not gonna deal with it.
Hey, Hope for Peace. Okay, I will just start. First, I want to say hubby yelled at me last night because everyone blows me up, and everyone will know. KK can even say, we get blown up while we're doing live shows, and I'm not going to be reading people's messages when I'm live anymore, because hubby said no more. Pay attention to live in the chat instead of people blowing me up on the side. So whatever you have to say about what I'm talking about will have to wait till after my show now.
Yeah, because we were missing. I was trying to share the picture she was sending, and we were missing a lot of questions in the chat. So yeah, we definitely don't want to do that. You guys take the time out of your day to come see us and interact with us. We should be paying attention. So.
And Tasha, I'm glad you said that, because part of it also, I've had a few people like it. I think for some it is stressful. They'd rather just watch. Like I joke around on people when they mod me, like, what? I was just here to hang out. I don't want to work. Hey, Laura. All right, so this was going to go a different way because everyone was thinking, oh my God, KK had Heather on. She's a part of this well-oiled machine. She's a part of all of this. And even the rumors that KK is Kim G and like all of this bizarreness. So actually I emailed with KK, and then we had a awesome, very long conversation. And then I was like, you know what? And a lot of things actually made sense. And I don't think people actually ever counted on maybe us ever talking to be able to tie certain bullshit together also.
It's probably true.
Yeah. You needed a break. So I didn't know that Armchair Detective made the mistake of thinking that Heather Blair and Kim G were the same person. He did actually delete that and put out a statement. That's what KK was really trying to do last night, was to let everyone know. And, you know, she wanted to make sure people knew that it was different people because she didn't want the Watts to believe that that it was the same person, you know, because they're fed all this crap and everyone knows it seeds that they don't even know what way is up or down anymore because of all of the crap.
And you guys, that's my fault because I try to make things clear, but you know how it is, Cher, when you're on the back end, you know exactly what's going on. And so sometimes when you articulate it out to people, you think that you're making sense. And sometimes I think that it's not as clear as you'd hope it would be. But
yeah, definitely, because it's like some people is like information overload, but I'm just trying to get it all out and I don't even have it situated in my head and it makes sense to me. Yeah, like you said, but it's just.
And I think the bigger part of that too is the people that are involved in this. And that's what I said to my channel like last night. And I keep saying that to my mods. I get that a lot of people think this is drama or dramatic or crazy, but here's the thing. When it's certain things like this, the people that it applies to, it's important. Everybody else, they might not understand. They may never understand. That's completely okay. But the point of things like this is to get to the bottom of certain things because of who it affects and because of how it's affected people. And the right people are paying attention to this live because they want to understand it. And if they're involved in it and have been hurt by it or been, you know, caught up in it somehow, those people are the ones that are going to benefit the most of conversations like this. And everybody else, hopefully, you're just here for support.
Yeah.
But
well, I had this planned differently. Where do you think the best place is to start with?
I don't even know. I don't even know. I guess like I said, my whole point for yes, she is. So I can. Do you want me to cover that like I talked to you about earlier? Do you want me to go through that?
Yeah, because I don't want to say whatever you're comfortable because like whatever we talked about over the phone, I don't know what all you want to put out there, so I don't want to put it, you know. So yeah.
So the reason why I came forward about this in the first place is because Chris put me in touch with her a long time ago, last year, and told me some information about herself. And I told her, I've told everyone when it comes to this case, I don't care who people are, why they talk to Chris. I almost kind of understand when people first reach out to the Watts, why they're kind of protective of their information and might even almost be dishonest because they're scared, you know, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm not that I'm going to condone lying, but I'm just saying like, I'm not going to judge that because I know that when people feel more comfortable and they build a relationship that sometimes they'll peel back those layers and say, okay, here's what's going on for real, whatever. So I knew from the beginning that some stuff with her wasn't right. I told Chris about it. I told the Watts about it. I went into very big detail with the Watts and with Chris, both. But Chris at the time was like, you know what? I'm just going to move forward with whatever. And he wanted the information. I gave it to him. And I'm like, that's how I always am. Like, here's your information. Bye. And it's not like I'm doing background checks and like, it's not that. It's just like an overview of somebody and a gut feeling, I guess. And so we start talking, exchanging information, whatever. And I was very protective of her. I wanted to make sure because I had my channel. She had heard about me from Chris and knew and had seen online some of the craziness that was going on with me. I understood that
really quick. There's a couple of people who are kind of lost already. Okay, cool. We are discussing Kim G. Kim G is real. She has to show ID to get on any kind of visitor list for a prison. She is a real person. There is really a Kim G. No, she is not an author. No, it is not the same person as Heather Blair.
Or me.
Or Kim K. It is two different people because, again, you have to realize she was on the visitor list and you do have to show government ID to be on a contact list for prison. So absolutely, it is not Kim K. It is not Heather. Not to say that she hasn't helped or in cahoots with Heather, because I still have that belief, but it's not KK. And I know people think, oh, it's someone pretending to be Kim G. People are maybe impersonating her as well, but there really is a Kim G, and that's right. What we're going over today.
Yeah, and not only they have to show ID to, initiate the paperwork. But when you start your session, your Zoom session, you have to hold your ID to the camera for that guard to see before they put Chris in front of you. And then you have to stay on camera the whole time. And nobody else can be, if you were to be switched out, the only people that can be on camera at all are the people that are approved, who've submitted their IDs, who've been whatever. And that's it. Like there's no way around like our faces being, period. We're all different people, all three of us. So
and I can vouch for that because no one was allowed, like if my daughter wanted to say hello to Rhonda, and some prisons are different because, but like for Rhonda, it was only me because I was the only one. My daughter or whatever, or a friend, if my best friend wanted to say hi, they had to have their own stuff programmed. And like she's saying, like, and they take it seriously. If they hear other people on that call, you will get in trouble, and so will the inmate. So.
Yep. And especially with Zoom, they take it very serious. Like even showing certain stuff or dressing a certain way or talking about, they're very strict. I think that they're like anything else. They're wanting to monitor, communication that's going into the prison. If there's anything that's happening, they should be aware of. They take it pretty serious. But, so there is just some things in my communication with her that I was super protective of anyone that's been close to the Watts, trying to make sure that they're okay. Especially if they're talking to Chris a certain way. And that's what our friendship was literally just that. And her seeing my channel, what was going on, and me dodging the bullets the best I could. And just saying, hey girl, if your name gets on that list, you're going to be everywhere. So protect yourself. To be like, that's what it was. And then as we came to the point where I stopped talking to the Watts, and you guys, I've said that before, I had nothing to do with the Watts. I love them dearly. I've been in their life for almost 3 years now. I've even my channel now. I'm just who I am. Everyone says I'm not like the majority on YouTube, but I think that is a freaking high compliment at this point. But as when I had stopped that communication for what it was, I continued my conversation with Kimberly, and I added Gina ended up being involved in those conversations. And we talked to Kimberly every day, nonstop, all 24/7. And like I said, even though Gina and I knew some information was not quite what it was, we just kept communicating with her because I think we had an understanding that we kind of got that and maybe understood why. Because if you look at a fear of going forward with court stuff or whatever, that could potentially be made public. A lot of people, unfortunately, will reach out under false pretenses because they want to communicate, but they're nervous until they build that trust. And then they will, like I said, like fix that. And I'm in no place to say how someone should or shouldn't be. But it became concerning when we started seeing things online, specifically about me. People were doing all those videos about me at the time, about who I was or who I wasn't, if I was talking to Chris, if I wasn't. And we started seeing her cousin, Annie M., this profile, commenting on those videos that were about me. People were sending them to me, and I was just like, that's odd. Especially if you're talking to Chris. That seemed very, very strange. And then people in different Facebook groups started seeing stuff everywhere. And we were made aware a long time ago that she had said her uncle was Charles Kennedy, who was a Florida Supreme Court judge. And her cousin was this Annie girl. Well, Charles Kennedy is a Florida Supreme Court judge. And his daughter, Annalisa, or Anna, or Annie, she's actually wheelchair bound. And when I found that out, it kind of bothered me. I was like, wait a minute, what? That's not good. That's not good. And I had talked to the Watts previously and said, like, this is concerning to me, but you have to understand there's so much information, and they're sharing notes from talking to them. Like, they're just trying to keep their head up, above water any given day. And to be honest, they really think the best in people and have a very, very hard time believing that people are capable of certain things, certain types of behavior. And so it's shocking for them. And so when you say something like that, they're like, wait, what? How could someone do that? Why would they do that? What's their motive? What are they in for? And they are just kind people. And they also continued their conversations with her. So people are just still messaging me nonstop. I had people that were admins of different groups on Facebook, different YouTube things, or reaching out saying, this Annie McGee's been messaging me, sending me letters from Chris, voicemails or different things from Chris. Is this real? Is this person legit? And a lot of those were being lost. I replied to a couple, but I was getting like thousands of emails when I first started. So to be honest, I didn't even look into most of those things until a week and a half ago, and this whole Dave thing started happening. But I guess to make a long story short, when Dave came forward, so I've been in touch with her until April. I did reach out. In our conversation, one of our last conversations, I told her that people were reaching out into my group trying to post things, and I wasn't accepting it. And I said, people are finding out that you're not related to this judge, that Annie is not your cousin. And she kind of Gina actually lost her dog. And so that was literally, she was like freaking out about being found out or trying to deny it or whatever. And then Gina lost her dog, which kind of allowed for that space of a couple of days to go by without communication because she was going through a hard time. And then her number changed. And I was like, oh dear. She knows we now, because I've addressed it now to her. And everything just went dark. And so I messaged her, I think the beginning of May. And I was like, basically, hey, are you doing okay? She said, yes, fine. But it was weird because you don't go from talking every day, like all the time, 24/7 to just that. And she had previously mentioned like a few days earlier that she had ghosted Heather and something about Lana. And I was like, wait, what? She was talking to them? Because that was weird. With our communication and how things were, Gina and I are both like, that's odd, you know? And so we had this feeling because of the conversations we were having with her, that it was something very NK heavy, very. And she was going back and forth with his behavior and how he was as a person. And the conversation just changed to where I kept saying to Gina, I don't know what's going on with this girl. And I had told Cindy and Ronnie before I stopped talking to them, I said, I don't know if she's an investigator, if she's a PI, I don't know if she's something, if she's a journalist, if she's hired by the prosecution, by Shanann's family. I don't know what's going on, but something just did not sit right with me. But I don't trust anyone, so that's not really. And I just
got a text message from the Watts actually, and it said that you actually were the first one to be suspicious of Kim G, and the family doesn't believe that you have anything to do with that. I literally just got that text message like 3 minutes ago. But yeah, they said you were the first one to be suspicious of her.
Oh yeah, that was like 8 months ago.
Yeah.
I mean, I told that my second Zoom with Chris was like half of it was about that. I was like, Chris, here's information you wanted. Like, I don't know what to tell you. So, I mean, that was that. And I was just concerned, and I've always been concerned about the Watts and about things. People, I've said this about them from day one. People really do not understand them. And I think even people, I had this discussion with Gina actually earlier. I think people who even talk to the Watts sometimes misunderstand them. Because especially when they're in a position where, like, I actually talked to Cindy earlier today. It's the first time I talked to her since we stopped talking. And it was about this because I'm concerned about them and I know them very well. And I wanted to make sure that they, you know, since all this has happened, that they are more aware of what's been going on. Obviously, Cindy and I have no problem communicating. I love her to pieces. And I thought my wife was like coming by. I was like, what do you need? I was like, you creeping? My wife, she walks behind me. I'm like, what are you doing? Sorry. And so, I mean, it was my concern because I don't want bad things to happen to them or to Chris. And they are the kind of people that when something's going on, they're just so trusting. And especially when they're concerned that when someone stops talking to them, that they're going to go out and just tell all whatever. And Cindy said that to me today. She goes, you didn't do that. Like everyone else has, and you have not. And she's like, I know you're not like that. I'm like, I'm not like that, you know? And I was just talking to her about Kimberly and about what's been going on. And my concern with everything was when Kimberly released that the letter, part of the letter. I have no idea it was even a part of it. The letter and the voicemail with Chris, and my mod sent me like a clip of it, and then people started saying, "Isn't that the girl on your channel?" I was like, "Yeah," and then I really was like, "Red flag! Like, what is happening?" Because I already felt she was, how would you say that? Like isolating Chris. And I felt some of the stories that she was saying to other people. I was watching her lie. I mean, her Annie M profile on Facebook was saying that she knew Chris and Shanann back before Shanann passed away. And I was like, why are all these things? Like, why all the lies? What is going on? It never sat right with me. And when I saw that video come out, I was just very concerned. I was like, wait a minute, why is she releasing this? Why is she cut the clip to make it sound like it's something that it's not? I have no idea about any creators, their relations with each other. Things I do not do that. Cindy, people know that about me. My mods know that. Gina everyone that talks to me knows that I do not do any of that stuff. I don't care about it. I don't want to deal with it. I don't like it. I don't like behavior like that. And when I saw that, I was more concerned that she was possibly taking advantage of Dave for some reason. And like I said, I had such a deep concern because of so many things. And one of her last messages to me, she said something about, I'm going to do something to the, hold on, I'll pull it up.
By the way, Kim from Unjustified, my mama Kim, I was telling you about, she's on panel now.
Hi, nice to meet you.
It's good to meet you.
You have a cute accent.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, let me pull up this message.
Yeah. Yes, I can vouch. Cindy has had contact
she says,
with all of us here on panel, and as well as I can confirm, yes, she has spoken to Alan. So at least one, I guess one time that I know of, but I can confirm KK is in contact with the Watts still. Mama Kim, Mr. Sheriff, we are all in contact with the Watts family, yes.
So this is a message that worried me when we were stopping talking. She said, people can say what they will. I'm moving forward from it all. I'm going to do something that will shock the heck, but she said the other word, out of the YouTube community. I have to. I have nothing to lose since I've been honest since day one. That concerned me.
When was that text message sent to you? Or when was that sent to you? What was the date?
April 28th.
April 28th. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So Gina and I were like, and then we had seen her Annie M profile because she'd been on my channel, obviously, as that Annie M profile multiple times. And then I don't remember how we ended up being on the about section of it because we were getting concerned. And then her about section said something about conversations in the dark is like my story or my something of a relationship with a family annihilator. And when I saw that, it I felt sick to my stomach. I was like, what? Because it just confirmed everything I'd felt. Like it just, everything that Gina and I talked about for 4 months with Gina, 6 or 7 months on my own. I was just like, this is not good. I don't know what she's doing. She's going to hurt Chris. She's going to hurt the Watts. I was concerned about that. And we stopped talking under very suspicious circumstances. So I didn't trust her at all. And I, like I said, from the beginning, I was trying to help her the whole entire time. Just navigate the stuff. When her name came out on the list for visitors, I was like, talk to your family, change your profile stuff, like lock it down, all of that. Because I didn't want her to be exploited, I guess, because it's a tough situation for people. Most people can't manage that. And it's not healthy, I don't think, for the average person. But when I saw that on her about section, I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And so when Dave's stuff came out, I heard that, I instantly was like, nope, this is not good. And I need to make a video. Because I knew that she was involved with so many people for so long and being so dishonest to everybody. And this was like my fear of like, okay, she is going to do something about it. Like she's contacting somebody, sent them something, and almost out of context. And that's what concerned me. And I'd also heard some health challenges with Dave. I'm not sure if they're true or not, what the extent of them are, but I just was like, I don't want her, since she had said that her cousin was this girl, when actually this girl's in a wheelchair and not who she says she is.
KK, do you see the comment?
But this Kim G has a right to write a book. I'm reading it. Anyone has a right to write a book. And I get that you're saying that. That's when you're in this position and this close to the family, that's just a disrespectful thing as far as if that's the motive, that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like Cindy told me 1,000 times, Kim, write a book, go do on YouTube, go do this, go speak out. And I never would. Like, I get that people can write books. Many have been written. My problem is someone coming into the Watts life, into their friend's life, into Chris's life, regardless of your guys' opinion about Chris, but the Watts, anybody, all of them under false pretenses, and it's going to hurt them. Like they don't deserve that. And so that's my concern. So yes, can you be silly and say anyone can write a book? Sure, whatever. But that's not the point of this conversation. This is a much larger conversation than that. Mm-hmm. And her reasoning for being in Chris's life, I mean, she was just lying to him. Again, could she pull another, experience like that's happened before? Sure. Is that good? No. Is it illegal? I have no idea. It's just wrong, in my opinion.
Right.
And so when I figured out, and I realized that the daughter or the cousin, who is that guy's daughter, is in a wheelchair, and then going to Dave, I was like, that made me feel sick to my stomach. And I wasn't okay with that. So number one thing was wanting to make sure that he wasn't being wrapped up in something that was not good for him, that was wrong, and wanting to make sure, because I'd seen the scope of how many people she had talked to and shared information with, that they were on the up and up. One of those being, I knew that she reached out to Heather. Kimberly had told Gina and I she had. And then she told her, she ghosted her after, I think Kimberly Heather had mentioned to her something about Chris being in a relationship with her or something. And Kimberly was not wanting to go online about that. And so she stopped talking to her. But they talked for months as well. And when they were talking, when Kimberly's been talking to all these people, not Heather, but everyone, there are certain things like with Dave, you saw that. Share this, put this out there, talk about this, do this. And so I was concerned about why she was doing that. I knew that Chris wasn't aware beforehand. I knew the Watts weren't aware beforehand. And so that's concerning. I mean, you think that you have a certain amount of integrity or whatever it is when you're in these relationships or you're in contact with people like this. And that's why I spoke up on my first video, is to say, wait a minute. I know that contact because she's been on my channel twice. I've talked to her every day for 6 months. And I was concerned, like, period. I was just concerned for the Watts. And then I had no idea that all these people behind the scenes were all connected or had talked or anything about some letter going to another channel. I had no idea about any of this because I don't pay attention to that stuff. My mods know, don't send it to me. For the majority of it, I don't want to hear it. They know certain things to send to me if it's specific, like the Dave guy with Kimberly, or like the AD clip with Cindy believing that they were the same person. I was like, I can't let her believe that, 'cause it's not true. So they know by now, after 8 months of being with me, exactly how I am, how I handle myself. I don't care about people's channels, what they do, what they say, how they act, what their behind the scenes stuff is. I don't want to know anything about that. And so when I came forward, it obviously unleashed kind of some chaos, because I don't know what Kimberly's doing. I don't know what her motive is. I don't know if she's in cahoots with somebody or if she's not, or what their motive is. I just know it's not good. Whatever it is, it's hurtful. After talking to Cindy today and her explained to me the things that Kimberly was saying to her about me, Cindy's like, I know they're not true. I know how you are, and then ironically, Kimberly messaged me a little bit ago. And I actually confronted her on that. And she was like, I never said that. Whatever. I told her I like to speak with her offline. That's usually how I deal with stuff, is like that. So hopefully I can get some of those things figured out and can get that to the Watts. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Cheryl will be part of that conversation. My biggest concern is, like I said, as far as having Heather on my channel, I literally have not talked to her since I talked about her on my channel how many months ago. I didn't even know she was on channel still.
Get into that, because people are like, oh my God, you guys are, do you see, okay, so can you answer why Cindy Watts never received her reimbursement from Weld County, and why everything was stopped when we had Weld County ready to cut the check for mental health support treatment?
So yeah, so you're talking about, so that's the victims advocate stuff. I'll say this. I actually was talking to Cher about this a little bit ago about Gene Powers. Gene Powers came on as their victims advocate attorney. She came on pro bono to help them get into court. Obviously, if you guys listen to my channel, I've spoken very directly about Gene Powers and what she did to the Watts. And it's the chaos. So, for those who don't know, I guess I'll say this. The Watts met with the assistant district attorney the night before the case, or before the hearing, I guess. And what they were told is the whole point of them going was to be able to have a chance to talk to Chris. That's all that they knew. When they met with the assistant DA, they said, we have a theory that Chris did this. And Ronnie was like, a theory? So they didn't show the Watts any evidence. The Watts didn't say, great investigation. He's so good. My son needs to be here forever. Like, he's guilty. I mean, none of that. It was they met for literally like a half an hour. It was at 9:30 p.m. Everything that the DA talked about, the assistant DA said, we talked for 2.5 hours, showed them all this evidence. All that's a lie. It's all dishonest. It's not what happened.
So are you aware? Sorry, are you aware that because two people that I love dearly actually was helping Cindy to get reimbursed for medical? I mean, were you aware? And then it stopped. So she's saying specifically November 2020. Everything that they did for Cindy was somehow stopped and ended.
Yeah, so when Gene Powers got removed, that was the first part. Gene Powers wanted the Watts to go on after and do this little promotion about the death penalty. They wouldn't do that. So there was a big thing that stopped there. They weren't, I don't know if you guys know, the Watts weren't, they were supposed to be there every step of the way, just like the Rusicks were, and they weren't afforded that right.
But why was why did every Weld County not cut the check? Why was all of that stopped? Who stopped it? Gene Powers?
Victims advocates in general. So Gene Powers dropped herself off. She wrote them a letter and said, I'm done, because the Watts would carry on. The Watts were trying to get things taken care of, and they wouldn't reply. And then you have Ronnie, who was trying to get the wallet and the phone and information back. And the DA was like, they gave the wallet back, but with the phone, they weren't going to, because there was a pending or future trial or something so they're like, we're not returning it to you. And so I think that's why they stopped everything, because that's the time we started getting heavy in Chris wanting to go forward, with a 35C. And it seemed like all communication from they were just cold as ice to them. So, I mean, there was a lot of things that the Watts should have been reimbursed for, and they haven't been. I mean, flat out, they haven't been. And I mean, look at the Rusicks. I mean, it's in the Discovery. They got their checks cut long before. So I think it's honestly, I mean, you think about that. Gene Powers was supposed to be a victim's advocate for the Watts and didn't do anything that she's supposed to, and lied in front of the court, and then dropped the Watts, which I think I've told the Watts before, they should be pursuing that itself, because that's a crime. I mean, they're afforded certain rights as victims, and they weren't. And they were used and abused for what looks like a prosecution move in court. And they haven't been taken care of afterwards. They have not been treated like victims. They've not been respected like victims. I mean, besides even the money being reimbursed, you have to realize the Watts as victims should have been notified that they were going out to Wisconsin. Should have been notified that Chris said something. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. That's all. I'm asking you about Caffeine Q's work with Cindy. Who stopped that? Who stopped Cindy from signing confidentiality forms? No idea. What confidentiality forms for? What are you talking about? I know Cindy was corresponding through email with them multiple times. Like, she had gone back and forth with them numerous times.
A lot of people are like, what the hell is going on? I can't even, guys, there's just so much information. We're just trying to get it out. Like, there's so much.
I know that at a certain point, Cindy was done trying to pursue it, because they were not being responsive, and they were not honoring them as victims at all. So I know Cindy multiple times was very frustrated. I don't know. And I don't know that I really without talking to Cindy about that and speaking more about that. I don't know if I should even be saying. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Cindy did try. I mean, they were in contact for a lot of things, but they weren't replying. They weren't honoring the Watts as victims at all on numerous things. Because it's not. You have to realize the Watts being victims isn't something that they should have to seek out. They should have been afforded that, just like the Rusiks, just like NK. And I don't know who else was put into the victims part of it. I know those guys were for sure. The Watts should have been honored the same way from the jump, and they weren't. So, like I said, I've always told the Watts that's something they need to pursue. That's something we wanted to pursue because it's wrong. And this whole thing, even from that aspect, could have been so different with Chris and with Court if the Watts would have been afforded the same exact things that the Rusiks were. They should have been there for every step of the way. When there was any talk of in the beginning of a plea deal, the Watts should have been notified immediately. Everything, how they were handled. There's a whole, I put it on my channel one time, all the things that the Watts should have been afforded. And there was like 30 things that they weren't. So, and that's against the law, you guys. It's a law there. They are afforded that right. And the fact that they weren't, it's a big issue.
Amanda, no, they were not flew out free, not whatsoever. They actually had to sell Chris's toolbox to go to the sentencing. So no, they didn't fly out to Colorado for free. You know, I know a lot of people doesn't know that.
I think that they were reimbursed for their flights though afterwards.
Yeah, after the fact, but to get there, they had to come up with the money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And realize, they should have been out there from the very first hearing. Anytime charges were being brought against, like I said, there's a share. I can send it to you so you can cover it on your channel if you want. There's a huge document about all the things. Like I said, every single time the Rusiks were there, everything that the Rusiks knew, the Watts should have been informed at the exact same time, the exact same way, period.
Yeah.
So think about how different this case could have been if that was the case.
Because everyone's so confused. So I don't know, you guys, it's crazy, but
it's a lot.
Basically tying in people and calling out the scams, who's all working with who. Kim G, is she Heather Blair? No. Is she Nikki MYOB? No. Are they all working together? Hell yes, in my opinion. Hell
yes.
I have
no idea on that.
Are people pretending also to be Kim G and all these other people? Yes. Is it all tied back to Heather and Nikki MYOB? In my opinion, yes, as well as Josh's wife, and several others. There's so much more. Like I said, I already had this scheduled long before I actually had conversations with KK today. So just went on with the show anyway, but hopefully we can break stuff down better. But I think it's important. Let's get into this Kim G, who is on the visitor list. And people have been asking the 35C, what happened there? Why did it stop? Maybe people can understand that part better. There really is a Kim G, and she had motives all along to set up the Watts, and that's the truth. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
but it
to stop the 35C, which to me, that's so frustrating. Even talking to Cindy today, that's what stopped it. That's what's so frustrating is that's what I was concerned from the get-go about the 35C period, was someone coming to stop it. And from all accounts now, it seems like that's exactly why. Besides other stuff that you guys have heard about, but get down to brass tacks, it was I'm being harassed, make it stop, make this, oh my gosh. And he did, he pulled the plug. And that's frustrating to me. And that's where I've had a concern of who hired her. Is this legit? Like what is going on? Because everyone knows Chris has been in 1,000 different places over the last 2.5 years, almost 3 years at this point. But he was 100% in a certain place before she came online, I guess, or got involved. And it seems that's been a concern, that it was to stop this whole thing, period. And here's my opinion. If you are close to Chris and your life's involved and you are so concerned about, then go away. Like, this is about Chris. Like, if that's, to be honest, like, stop talking to him and go away. Mm-hmm. But it was concerning to me that it was the pressure put on Chris to say NK's involved here or whatever it is, and to stop the 35C. that to me is highly suspicious. And I'll say this, people have said 1,000 times, why don't you entertain the NK idea? What has Chris told you? Whatever. Chris has told me the same thing 1,000 times. I have no idea if she was there. People keep asking me. People keep telling me that there's more to it. Can you look into it? Why are they saying that? I don't remember. If she was there, I don't remember. But if everyone thinks that she was, then why? The only concern that Chris ever had about NK was the fact that he thought that she lied in her interview with the Denver Post, which she didn't lie. They took her words from her interviews previously and put out a false narrative. That was it. They were trying to make the media at that point feel like it was a Scott Peterson thing, that she never knew anything about Chris being married, knew nothing about the kids, knew nothing about none of that. That's not true. Chris did have a conversation with NK about the police being involved and said, don't get involved. Because Chris, if you guys know his patterns, he deals with things himself face to face with things. He did that with Shanann about the divorce. He did that with Ronnie he just deals with things in person. Even when the Wisconsin thing happened, he wanted to tell Ronnie in person. That's how he is. And so the only thing that Chris was ever concerned about was he thought that she lied and he wanted to know why. That was it. And so, hold on. This was never about Chris for us. For us, it was always about protecting Jamie's kids and preventing Cindy from being driven to her grave listening to people like this. Well, I think that everyone has their own, I think everyone comes to the table with their version of what's best for everyone involved. I get that. So, and that's the problem is, I was telling that to Gina today, because Gina, when she stopped talking to the Watts, that was hard for her. And I said, Gina, I know it's harder for you probably because you're one person speaking to the Watts. So you are 100% invested, but the Watts themselves, you as one person are talking to them, but they are talking to 50 people. So their emotions, their feelings, that's all spread out between so many different things. And they're going through something that's horrific, So, I think every person comes to the table with different information. But, as far as Kim goes,
you guys, Dylan Wyatt is not Jamie. I can promise you, I know exactly what she's doing this weekend. And she's too busy for that. She may catch the replay maybe later tonight, but then she likes to have family time at nighttime and not on her phone with this crap. So it's not her.
Well, that's why for me too, as far as Chris's sister, I told her that with my channel, I don't talk about her. I don't talk about my conversation with her, nothing, because to me, that is sacred. I 1000% agree to protect her and her kids. That's why I talk about Cindy and Ronnie and Chris for that reason. Mm-hmm. I've mentioned her maybe twice or 3 times as far as Chris's sister. I don't know. I don't share any conversation I've had with her. I don't share nothing. I don't like that. She's got kids. We got to protect that for sure. But so as far as, like I said, as far as Kim goes, my experience with her is that she involved Heather. That's what I know. From the messages I had with Kimberly, from the messages I know that were still being had with Heather from Kimberly, she's just been dishonest to every person that she's talked to is a different story. Now, I will say this, because Heather has been asked to come forward and share stuff. So was Dave. It's not and like I said, I don't know. I have no idea about who Heather is involved with, what things in the back end. So I can't speak about that, and
you can confirm he has not been in contact with Heather since, was it August 2019 or August 2020?
So I stopped talking to Chris in January or February, whatever it was this year. Mm-hmm. And what I know is that she reached out to me in, September, October, or whatever it was, about getting back in touch with Chris, because Chris has stopped talking to everybody. Mm-hmm. And he had told me, but that's the thing is Chris doesn't really talk too much about who he talks to. He keeps that pretty private, which is awesome. But when I'd asked him, because she wanted me to, he just explained to me that he ripped up everyone's letter in his locker. He was done reaching out to people. And so I told her that. And then she reached out to me, I think in February again about something. I don't think I responded to that. But so to my knowledge, what I knew from then when I dealt with it on my channel about that was, yes, that Chris had stopped talking to her maybe August, September of last year. And then she'd messaged me later on about asking why or if things were okay, because she had heard Chris had talked to her multiple times about me. Now, I had a phone conversation with her when Chris first mentioned her. That's it. And so I hadn't had any contact with Heather. Didn't mention a channel still until like 5 days ago, whatever this whole thing started. Knew nothing about that. Had not talked about any of this. I only knew that Kimberly had been in touch with her because of Kimberly and my conversations with her. And then when Dave's stuff came out and then people were talking about, my mods were sending me more information because they've been following Kimberly stuff for 6 or 7 months now. It was brought up about Heather, and I was like, Heather and her are not the same person. And I was not okay with that. I did not want the Watts to believe that Kimberly was being honest and that this Heather person was, because I was like, they've seen her on Zoom. Like Chris told me the person that I know as Kimberly is who he's seen on Zoom. And I had never seen Heather before ever until she came on Natasha's live the other night. And I was like, well, there you go. That proves it to me that she's not the same person. I'd never seen her before. Never talked to her like that to see her. But clearly Chris, with having a Zoom, would know a physical difference between the two. And so me personally, when there's information I do know about, I'll speak on it. So I don't know in the back end stuff. I just know that, or my belief from Kimberly is that Kimberly's Kimberly. And she did reach out to Heather because she was concerned and wanted to know herself if Heather was talking to Chris. And she didn't know if she believed Chris or believed Heather. She didn't know. And they kept in touch for months. And I have a lot of the stuff that Kimberly sent Heather. It's stuff that literally only Kimberly could have. And it doesn't make sense that if they were in cahoots, that they'd be sharing it like that. I guess in the context and the conversations they were having, it seemed like if Heather was part of this, that the conversation would have been much different. There's a different type of way you communicate when they're in cahoots versus, people reaching out to Heather about certain things when I was Kimberly. And yeah, I was like, I don't believe that. But I do know that she was asked to share stuff from Kimberly. So I could see how that might seem suspicious. But again, I don't know enough about everyone's backstories and what's behind the scenes. All I know is my belief as far as dealing with Kimberly. And then I did speak with Heather yesterday from her live because I was like, when I heard that clip about AD telling the Watts, I just couldn't stomach that. I was like, that's not true. So I was like, can I speak with you? I messaged her, can I speak with you? I talked to her and I was like, here's my story. I believe this is what I know. She showed me what she knew. She sent me everything Kimberly ever sent to her. I was able to verify a lot of stuff about who Kimberly was based on the stuff she had. Like, if that's the same girl I know, everything. So I don't know. I don't know who this Nikki MYOB person is. No, I don't know enough about that to speak on that. Isn't it interesting? I didn't see how that.
Oh,
I actually spoke with Anna the other day. Anna, I didn't remove Anna. I actually spoke with Anna the other day. She reached out to Gina and I. Like I said to her when I was talking to her, I said, do you understand how things are when you're communicating online? That's how we started this whole live, is that you say certain things because you know something in the background and you say it out loud thinking that people have been in those conversations and know exactly how you're saying it and why you're saying it. It's not the case. And we spoke about that. It wasn't removed. It's when, so the family has some concerns with her. Chris has concerns with her. And when Chris had decided to cut ties, that was the decision that he wanted to make. And so when we talk about being removed, it's like basically taking notes of like, okay, this person's removed, this is removed, this, because Chris wanted certain people to be no longer in touch with him. And so he wanted me to verify certain things and figure certain things out. And I did with the family. And so that's how she was quote unquote removed. But it wasn't like I didn't go to Chris and say, she needs to be removed. No. And like I said, I just talked to her on the phone the other day and explained that to her. She actually had a question about that. And people have this false, I guess, belief that people that are in the Watts lives have this, end all be all power over them. That's not the case. Chris makes like this. Kimberly, for example, I talked to the Watts 6 months ago about her. That's not how that family works. And Chris makes his own decisions. There were just things that were going on that they had questions about, and the Watts had a personal experience that I'm not going to talk about, that if they want to share it, they can. And it was concerning to them. And so I think it was a lot of things that led up to that. But that wasn't my decision. That's me saying at the end, explaining like this person's removed. That's more of like behind the scenes talk versus, and like I said, at the same time back then, when I first started my channel, you're also, like I said at the beginning of this channel, you're speaking in a way that behind the scenes people understand it. Here online, people don't. So that's, I guess, the difference.
Mm.
But I mean, that's a conversation to ask Chris and to ask her. I mean, she would have more. Like I said, I literally just spoke. I have not spoken to Anna before. She reached out to me before to speak with me. And because my messages were 1,000 deep, I didn't see that. I reached out to her later and said, I definitely have a conversation with her. And then Gina put her on the phone with me like 2 days ago, I think.
What's your take about the whole leaked call from that, with all of that? What is your take on that?
The leaked call from Kimberly?
J for Justice. Kimberly G, I already know. She went in there with a plan.
Wait, what leaked call?
With Anna, who leaked the call with Anna and Mark Gillespie and all that.
Well, I think Jay did. Isn't that what she said on her channel?
I was just wondering what you had to say about it. That's all.
All I know is like that I was told was that they had Jay and Mark Gillespie. They were, I guess that there were a call previous to that one. Like there was 2 calls, I guess. And she recorded the second one and put it out there. And I've talked to Kelly about that numerous times. Kelly believes that there was a very good reason why it was put out there. And I guess I don't know enough about that to, make a decision on that one way or another. Does that make sense? I don't
Yeah.
I don't know the point of doing it. I wasn't a part of it to begin with.
The
I have
link,
no idea.
so if it's someone that I know well, I'll let you up. 'Cause yeah, I know it's a lot. And Kim and I were talking about that earlier. There's just you guys, like, it's so hard
to
explain.
Idea.
Yeah, it's a lot. And even when I'm talking to Mr. Scherer, I think I'm making perfect sense. He's lost. He is hella lost right now, and we are under the same roof. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
You have to realize this too. It's like with the Watts. I mean, because they feel pressure by each person. Like if someone doesn't like me is talking to the Watts. Cindy said that to me 1,000 times. She's like, this person's not me talking to you. And I told them this. I'm sorry. I'm like, I get it. Like you have to really understand the Watts. Like that's the thing is I don't think a lot of people really take time to truly understand how they are. They're always going to look out for themselves. And they're always trying to trust everyone and question everyone at the same time. Like it's a roller coaster. It's a mess. It literally is. People do not understand, and that's the difference. I think that the difference I have is like someone put out there like with Chris. Okay, and I know again when people talk to the Watts and want a certain narrative, you guys, if there's one thing I could teach you about Chris Watts is. Talk to his family for 2 months. You will understand him completely. When people go, why would he say something that's not true? Well, I can tell you exactly why, but it's not ever done maliciously. It's really done to stop the pressure. Someone is like, why is Kim doing this? Or what about this? Or what about that? they'll say
Who's,
something.
one of your mods, Kim? Who can I? Someone's asking if I can make one of your mods mod to make
Rosebud,
the
right there. You can do her. You can do Rosebud.
Rosebud. Is she not modded? I thought she was.
I have no idea. And it's funny because people have said for so long, like, why have people talked to me? Well, I don't know. I mean, I've talked to the Watts and Chris the longest, and the whole point of my channel is to come out and explain how the Watts are and help people understand how Chris is, or how, just a different take on it. And I did. I mean, everyone else has talked about it for so long, and they've had zero contact with the family,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just even share, like I've talked with you, like when you said to me today, I mean, I think that most people, after actually talking to me and getting to know who I am, I mean, I don't know who that was earlier that said I was talking to them. I think I talked to that person for Jamie for 6 hours. I told Jamie that day, because I know that they had a very strong NK agenda and they're working a certain way. And Jamie asked if I talked to him, and I agreed. I went through all my stuff. They went through all their stuff. And all I told Jamie was what they're going after is there's just, because here, if I can say one thing to make anyone understand this, getting Chris back a 35C, it does not matter what Chris did, to be honest, because it's a prosecution move. If Chris goes back in to bring up new information or, off of legal reasons, whatever, the prosecution is the one who has to bring information. So I kept telling Chris, there's no pressure for him to keep talking, because the prosecution has to bring evidence against him to charge him, period. So everyone trying to get Chris to remember stuff, I'm like, you have to realize Chris was in solitary confinement for how long? He's been inundated with all this information. Like, he's very much a people pleaser. And I think someone who is a professional who would be with him every day, that would be better help for Chris, to be honest.
Well, I got my favorite doctor up here, Dr. B.
Okay.
Hi.
I know you got questions, girl.
I do. Hi, Kim.
Hi.
So if you don't mind just clarifying some of these questions for me.
Sure.
Okay.
Aren't you the one I was just talking about that I spoke with? You are. I think you are. Who I was just saying,
I was trying to come up, so I didn't hear the last couple of minutes because I was trying to.
Okay.
But so I don't know who you were talking about, but
I think it was you. I think, weren't you on a Zoom or something with Jamie, Kelly, a bunch of other girls?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. And what were you saying about that?
I was saying that when Jamie had asked me to speak with you guys, you had very much more of a NK.
Really quick, please don't be trashing anyone in the comments, let alone other creators. Crafton and Kim are friends of ours, so I don't like that. I'm going to put you in timeout. Keep it up, and I'll just block you. Respect. Remember, it's all about finding answers and getting to the bottom, and I can have whoever I want on my channel. You don't like it, leave. Don't trash Crafton and Kim and whoever, Dr. B, KK, all these people. I'll just get rid of you, and I said it at the beginning. Let everyone talk, please. Have an open mind or don't. Leave. Hey, Mama Bear.
Hello.
Sorry, Dr. B. Go on. I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Mama Bear.
So what I was saying to you, Dr. B, was that Jamie had asked me to get in touch with you guys because you guys had been working a different avenue, and so I think we
do you know what that avenue? Do you know what that avenue was?
An NK avenue. NK's involvement in this.
Wait, hold on. An NK avenue?
Yeah, that's what I took from it. That's like I said.
Well, you clearly took something wrong away from it, because I just said a couple of minutes ago that we weren't approaching this from any angle other than we wanted to protect Jamie's children from the shitstorm that they're gonna grow up to see online about their grandparents. And the other angle, quote unquote, was that we simply wanted the Watts to have the reimbursement that they were entitled to under the Victims' Rights Act. And Caffeine Q, who is a professional victims advocate, actually got in contact with all the people, and everything was ready and set to go until Cindy Watts had a conversation with you that she shared with me about, and some of your suspicions, and that therefore it ended. And that's when I respectfully walked away, because I realized that
What conversation are you talking about?
Well, I don't know what conversation you had with Cindy Watts. That would be.
I thought you said she showed you. So I don't know what you're talking about. You have to remind me, because
she told me. I said she told me. I'm sorry if you.
So, I mean, like I said, I've had 1,000 conversations with people. I don't know what you're speaking about directly. There's nothing. I fought Cindy to get that situated forever, to take care of that, because that's something actually going back to court that we wanted to address first, was get some of those small fires put out.
Kim,
and I'm speaking about agenda-wise.
Kim,
hold on a second. Let me finish what I'm saying.
No. You don't need to finish, because we were already done. We already had it all finished. So there's no need to keep it for a further court date, because it wasn't necessary to go to court, because Weld County actually said that we've been trying to pay Cindy, but Cindy needs to sign the freaking paper.
Oh, I don't know anything about that then. I don't know if that,
well, that's the problem, Kim. You don't know, but you're deeply involved, and you're influencing this family in what they do, who they interact with, and who they don't interact with. And I think you are the one who needs to seek help. So
okay,
I don't.
Dr. B, let me explain something to you. I think if you think I'm that powerful, then that's wonderful. But if
I don't think that, I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it with my own eyes, and I heard it with my own ears on the 5-hour phone call that we have. Mama Bear, you were on the phone call as well. And I know that, we're friends, so I don't want this to feel like a gang up, but I'm going to mute myself, and you can tell a little, or Claire, I think you also had some clarifying questions about that phone call, because.
Well, and you have to understand, the whole point of that, what Jamie told me, was for me to tell you guys exactly my point in this, because she wanted to know if what you guys were doing, because what I took of that with our conversation was more of you were looking more NK, phone pings, that kind of stuff. And I said to Jamie, and I have the text still, I said, I think that what they're looking at, they're better at handling their way, because my direction is completely opposite.
Okay, so hold on. The question of NK was brought up in the phone call for a very, very brief part of the long phone call, because as soon as NK was brought up, you shut the conversation down, as far as I remember. And I said, but how can you shut it down when you have like actual evidence that they need to further look into and clarify, and you're hanging on to these interpretations of the autopsy report that are way less what's the word that I'm looking for? Less weight in court, I guess. So that was my 1 second. That was my confusion. And you said, no, if NK is guilty, or if NK was in any way involved, that means Chris is guilty.
Yes, 100%.
So
absolutely,
yes, so
1000%.
So that means that you shut it down completely without listening with an open mind. And that's as far as the NK conversation went. That's what, 5 minutes? And we were on the phone for like 5 hours. So don't give me the NK angle, because we're not a one-trick pony. We're actual professionals. And actually, as a matter of fact, you know what? This is now refreshing my recollection, because as we were talking about NK, you said, no, if NK is guilty, Chris is guilty, and that doesn't work like that. And Jamie actually stood and said, but Kim, no, we can't just dismiss her like that. And you said, no, we can't. Jamie started crying in the Zoom call, Kim, and you didn't even stop to ask her if she's okay.
I didn't hear her crying on the Zoom call. She probably had that muted.
She was visibly crying because she was on the video.
I don't have myself pulled up like that. I have no idea what she was doing. She's probably muted. But you have to understand, Dr. B, what you're missing about this.
Hold on, Kim. Let's finish this. We weren't muted. She wasn't muted. Actually, Kelly and who else was it that interrupted the conversation?
Caffeine.
really
Yeah,
quick,
can
I
you-
don't want this to be. I think this is good that you guys are talking and whatever.
Well, no,
I don't
this
want
is the problem, Cher.
But
I think that
I have to say I've vouched for Caffeine and Dr. B. Kim because I've seen it. Like I've seen it with my own eyes. I know what they were doing.
Yeah,
You know
because
what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
have any repercussion with that at all. But I
Well,
think
this is a problem. This is a problem, Kim, because this is a problem because we never finish one subject completely because you want to steer us in a different direction, but I really don't want to go there. I want to stay with this phone call now because everything that happened in that phone call is a reflection of how you communicated with this family for the last 2 years. And you're one of the first people, if not the first person, who has reached Cindy Watts and contacted Cindy Watts. And look, what I've witnessed, I'm willing to say that you single-handedly derailed the Watts from receiving the treatment that they were entitled to receive. And quite frankly, in our communication with Weld County, there was no big conspiracy about them trying not to give. As a matter of fact, it is this reason that I changed my...
You have to talk to Cindy about that.
No, I need to talk to you about this.
Well, no, because Cindy's the one who communicated. I had nothing
Cindy
to do with
is not the...
at all.
Okay.
Well, I had nothing to do with that. That's between Cindy. I had nothing to do with that. I know nothing about that. And what you're missing with our communication...
No, I'm not missing anything.
No, let me finish.
I know what I heard.
I listened to you. I need you to listen to me for a second. What you're missing about the 35C that Jamie...
I'm not even talking about the 35C.
No, listen, can I finish, please? I listened to you. I need you to listen to me now. Please. What I'm saying is back then with a 35C, what you, in our communication, what it sounds like you were doing, you wanted to look into NK. And I think that's no, I don't care who anyone wants to look into NK. I don't care about that. But when you're going into a court, our job, if you're on the defense side, is not to prove if Chris Watts is guilty or not. The point of a 35C is to put him back in court and make them prove what happened. So what you're missing about that is that I've always said that I don't care who's involved. I don't care as far as going through the autopsy. The whole point of that is when you're going back on what Chris was saying at first was what he told his dad was true. The whole point of that is to find out with Chris's very explicit explanation of what happened. Is it possible to put the autopsy results and line them up with that explanation? That's the only thing you have to do. If you're on the defense, if that's what he's sticking with, can you at least put reasonable doubt in someone's mind? Or is it plausible? Is it probable? Is it possible that could happen? Yes, that's what the point of that autopsy thing was. So beyond that, I don't care who's involved. I don't care if NK and 55 of her friends are involved. That's not the point of getting Chris back in court. It's not our job on the defense side with Chris's side to prove who did what. It doesn't matter about that. If the prosecution wants to bring charges later, great. Going back into court is simply to rectify the things that were done wrong and to make the prosecution have to prove their theory. That's it. And I said,
I agree with that.
If NK is involved, I have no problem with that. Make the prosecution prove it. I said 1,000 times.
So
if
why did you
involved? Go put pressure on the prosecution to charge her. If anyone thinks that there's information that ties her to this crime, pass it to the prosecution and force them to look into it. Force investigation. Call the police yourself. Call a detective. Call SVU in Colorado. May look into it. As far as getting Chris Watts back into court, none of that matters. The only thing that matters is dealing with the things that would qualify him for a 35C. Putting it back in front of that judge, I deny it. We have to pass it up, refer to higher court, and then at that point, them have to prove what their theory is, what their story is. That's how that works. And people have not understood that for so long. I think actually, your Mr. Cher, actually did a comment about that a long time ago, and I think I actually put it on my community tab. Because I was like, I think people are going at this the wrong way. They're trying to get Chris to tell them the truth. And when it comes to a 35C, his truth doesn't matter. It's their job. It's the burden of the proof on the state to prove that they have enough evidence to charge him for what they're charging him for. They didn't do that to begin with. And so it's those types of things. And that's why I told Jamie when I texted her, I said, you know, what they're doing, which a lot of people that are sleuths are doing, they're trying to figure out what happened. And to me, getting Chris back into court, that is actually secondary and almost irrelevant. It doesn't matter at that point. It's what happened to get him charged to begin with, what happened with him taking a plea deal, what's happened legally, what evidence is there against, you know, what we know as far as because he's the only person charged right now. I said, exactly. If NK is involved, perfect. But then then there's no point for Chris to go to 35C. Turn the information over to the police, let them charge her. Chris stays where he's at, end of story. Like, that's that simple to me. So like I said, when we were talking, again, that was the first time they put us all together having a conversation. We're all trying to say all these things in one conversation in 5 hours to make each other understand. And clearly, both of us have very, very different backgrounds, very different ideas. I had no idea you even existed in Watts. That's my point, is people think of this power over the Watts. I had no idea who you were. I had no idea.
Exactly. And things were going great. Hence me saying that Caffeine Q was able to get through to Weld County. And we actually heard that Weld County had attempted numerous times. And that's when I started realizing, wow, you know what? All these things that the Watts have been telling us is your interpretation of it. Because when Cindy says that everything that Gene Powers read is not what she wanted to be read, and she was appalled, even though she stood next to her, they wrote it together and they met.
Well, they did not write that together.
Hold on, 1 second. You don't tell me what they wrote or didn't write. You can't write. Hold on.
Gene Powers did not write anything.
Kim. Hold on, Kim. Yes. So who wrote the victim's impact statement for?
No,
for
that was Cindy and
Ronnie?
Ronnie. I said Gene Powers statement. Gene Powers. They had no idea what Gene Powers was going to say.
So they didn't have a conversation the previous night with the assistant district attorney.
Yes, they did.
Okay.
It had nothing
And
to do
what was said? What was
Marie.
said in the meeting?
That they had a theory.
And what else was said?
They talked for 30 minutes and they patted Cindy
What
on the
was said
shoulder
in the
about-
30 minutes? They have a theory is only 1 second. What was said in that entire conversation?
Dr. B, let me ask you what your point of this conversation is, because I'm telling you, your relationship with the Watts is completely different than mine. So and that's what people don't understand. Like Cindy today, okay? If you'd like to have a conversation with Cindy, that's what you're not understanding. Your relationship with them, mine, Gina's here on panel right now. She'll tell you her relationship is different. If you do not understand the Watts by now, that they will say things with your personality with these accusations, you have to understand Cindy is going to feed you what you want to hear. Because she'll probably
are you aware of an email that was sent to the district attorney's office by Chris's defense team on August 26th of 2018, wherein a first draft of the plea agreement was sent, and Chris wasn't prepared to plead guilty for the children, and Rourke. So what date was that?
Rourke came in.
That was August 26th,
I know that, right? Rourke came in to Chris. I mean, the plea deal was first introduced to Chris 6 days after he got there. 6 days.
Okay, so can we walk through this together? So August 26, 2018, there's an email sent to
you and I can have this conversation offline by ourselves.
Why? This is public information. This is the Watts
your
case.
experience with the Watts and mine is different.
This is not experience. I'm asking you about the facts of the case.
But what I'm saying is you had different ties and we're working on different things than I was. Okay. So I didn't know you existed before that phone call. So I have no idea what you did, what you were a part of, what you know. I've never talked to you after. So I'm sorry, but I will agree to disagree with you on most of these things because we don't know each other. And you have no idea what I know or what I've been a part of. I clearly have no idea who you are. I have nothing to do with you being a part of their life or being gone or anybody else. That's your decision, period. I know nothing about you. I simply told Jamie after our conversation, I felt that what you guys were doing was different than what I was doing. And it did not seem to be a fit that You guys were doing your own thing. And I was too, like Gina had her own thing. Every person who talked to the Watts has done their own thing, period. That's how it's always been.
So getting Cindy Watts reimbursement for things that they actually were trying. Right.
Sounds like
so
you did.
Do you think that didn't sound like a angle that you liked? That's not an angle that you agree with?
We talked about that, like I just said.
Well, that was
100% the most important thing. I
have no NK angle.
No idea. Zero.
There was no NK angle. Like, so if you don't know I exist, how did you know my angle and the phone pings? And
our 5-hour conversation we just talked about.
We didn't talk about that.
Yes, you did.
We shut it down in 5 minutes.
You opened some spreadsheet of all your information of tracking this phone tower and this over here and this over here. And I don't know what part you're forgetting, but that's what I remember. And like I said, we can agree to disagree.
Yes, I was asking
why
you.
We've never talked about this stuff. If you have an issue with how Cindy handled something, talk to Cindy about it, period. Because I'm telling you at that time, how Cindy was and what she was doing, that's a Cindy thing, not a me thing. Just like my phone conversation with her today, for an hour, I talked to her. She's like, Kim, it's so hard because there's so many people want me to say and do certain things and do this and say this and whatever. And you have to understand a lot of those answers you probably got from Cindy at the time were just like she does right now, where she knows if you are very strongly against me, she's going to say whatever she has to say to you to stop the confrontation. And it sounds like that's what she did, because every time she would do that, she would tell me, hey, so-and-so says this. I felt like I had to say I was going to be in trouble. I'm like, it's okay. So again, if there's something that you're concerned that I was a part of, talk to Cindy about it. I knew nothing about
Do you think I talked to Cindy about YouTube?
I have no idea what to talk about. I'm talking about the case stuff. If you have an issue with how
do you think I talked to Cindy about the case?
Then talk to her. I don't know.
Do you think I talked to Cindy?
I've never talked to Cindy about you. I don't have no idea what you're doing. Obviously, I have no idea what you've done.
Calm down. If anybody needs
and she's never Cindy has never even
phone call
me
this is exactly
to talk to Dr. B. So,
Gina, we're still on the phone call. You were not on the phone call, so just zip for 1 second, please.
Okay.
Kim,
well, like I said, this is not.
We barely even talk.
I don't.
Talking right now. I can't even
My
see.
turn. Kim.
Whose turn?
It's Mama Bear.
This is
It's my turn for a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, Mama Bear. Well, I didn't want KK on here to get attacked. I will say that I wanted a I like the debating. I do think that's healthy. I think even KK thinks that's healthy. But yeah, if people are
I'm just telling Gina to just wait a minute.
No, I'll just bounce. Thank you, Kim. Thank you, Kim, for answering my questions.
Sure.
I appreciate it. And yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Love
you, Cher, for having me on, and good night.
Love you. Bye.
I mean, like I said, the best I could say about that is I talked to that person for 5 hours with people that never knew anything about them, never knew they even talked to the Watts, never knew they talked to Jamie, never knew what they were doing. People don't understand the Watts handle things very incrementally and very compartmentalized. And a lot of people, they're mentioned or things are, but it's not in depth. And if she was working a certain angle, that's between her and the Watts, not me. Obviously, that's something I've talked about on my channel 1,000 times, that the Watts should have been I have gone over victims' rights stuff 1,000 times, but people also don't understand too where the Watts are emotionally on an hour, if not even a 10-minute by 10-minute basis. Cher, if you've talked to Cindy, you know that's how she is. She could be saying this 1 second and 5 minutes later something else, because her brain is so locked with so much information, so much stress of who's this. You're talking, that conversation happened probably a year ago. Like, I didn't even know until she came on panel. I was like, I think that's her I talked to. Couldn't even told you 6 months ago, 5 minutes ago before she came on here, who she was, or that I even talked to her. I have no idea who was even on that panel that day or on that phone call that day. I simply told Jamie that if you're looking at getting Chris a 35C, me trying to figure out the who, what, when, where, and why, I don't need to do that. I'll leave that to the prosecution. Let them charge people. We got to get Chris back in the legal way based upon things that were done wrong. That's all I care about. And that's how everything else is not my business. And as far as the reenactment with the autopsy, It was simply, if you need to raise reasonable doubt, was that even possible? That Chris's story that he told at the police station to his dad, is it even remotely possible? I mean, think about that. If someone was stabbed 50 times, say Shanann was stabbed 50 times, then Chris's story about what happened would not match an autopsy that had 50 stab wounds. So the whole point of that reenactment and that at all was to see if there, at any way, shape, or form at all, if it was possible that that could have even been at all, based upon the evidence internally, forensically, period, was it possible? And turns out, with a lot of help, we were able to match to say, yes, what he said exactly in that 5-minute recap with them, based upon the autopsy, the evidence, the bruising, the pattern, the girl's internal injuries, it is possible. And that's all you need. And that's all that the family for a second wanted to see was, is this possible? And so we worked super hard, matched what he said, did it, and explained it. When I did the autopsy reveal on my video on my channel, the Watts literally saw it the night before. They'd never seen it before then. That was it, the night before. Because it wasn't about, people don't know that, it's not even about what the Watts, that it's, Cindy wanted me to always talk about my opinion like everybody else had done. I have no idea how long Dr. B's had a channel or any of these other people had channels for. I don't know what they've talked about. I don't know what their involvement is. I didn't know 3/4 of the people that were involved with the Watts because that's not my business. I wasn't talking to the Watts based on who they were talking to. No idea. I was talking to the Watts to help them and help Chris in certain ways that we needed help, just like me getting them the news to come. People do not understand to this day why that was so critical to have Cindy and Ronnie recorded at that time on the news. And I'll tell you why. Because they never did an investigation on Chris, we know that, and they never had a recorded statement of the Watts, what had happened, what their experience with Chris was while he was there. You have to understand, they couldn't wait until they got on the stand in a court hearing later to say these things, because then they're going to go, well, you're lying and making it up because you've got the discovery and you now know, so you're just lying. We needed to lock that information in time. The same reason why I had the lady who came to my house from Dateline ask DA Rourke about the letter. I had to have a genuine, raw, for the world to see his reaction. She asked that because I needed her to ask DA Rourke about the stinking letter, because that's critical. And we all saw him go, what letter? I'm sure if there's a letter, we'd know about it. There were certain things that we were doing to lock. We needed to have certain things locked in place for Chris to protect him. The Watts explaining their relationship with Shanann. We needed them to say that prior to the world having more access to Shanann's Facebook, having more access to knowing her blowout about the allergies, having them be able to explain Chris and how he was, the conversation about looking for an apartment, looking, for a 2-bedroom with bunk beds for the kids. He had figured out child support. He figured out alimony. He was looking for, apartments when Shanann was getting back from Arizona. We needed that stuff locked in place so they could not come back and say, oh, you're only saying all this bad stuff a year because to protect Chris. Does that make sense? So we needed certain to be locked into place. What she's talking about with the assistant DA, I was one that helped him get Gene Powers so that they could make this. They wanted to talk to Chris. Cindy didn't want to go. She was terrified the last second. She didn't want to go. She ended up going. They sat in there and talked and praised Cindy, like, you raised the best son. He's taking responsibility for this. Good job. We don't need to be traumatized by all this stuff. And they kept telling Ronnie, we have a theory. We have a theory. He had a girlfriend. He killed his family for it. And Ronnie was like, what do you mean a theory? Where's the evidence? Well, and they spent their time literally churning in the mud. Ronnie asking questions, and they wouldn't provide information. They wouldn't provide evidence. So when Gene Powers got in front of that courtroom and boldface lied and said they were with, the DA, we were thankful for them. They answered all their questions. They showed them all the evidence. They know now, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that Chris is guilty. They're thankful. They're sorry about their statements about Shanann. that was, you guys, that's so calculated and so sick. If you think about it, you have to know that that lady's in the pocket of somebody for her to get up with an agenda like that, because the Watts had no idea what she was going to say. None. Absolutely none. I was blowing up her phone, and a girl at ABC, because she was part of that. What is happening? What has gone on? Cindy and Ronnie had no idea. They were standing shoulder to shoulder with this woman and had no idea what she had said. When they got back to their hotel, I called them and I played the recording, and Cindy screamed. Why would she do that? Oh, she was so horrified that one of the last words out of Gene Powers' mouth was, "We believe that Chris needs to spend every breath of the rest of his life in repentance for what he has done." That horrified Cindy. She was shoulder to shoulder with Chris and had no idea that was said, or with Gene Powers, and had no idea that was said. She was in shock. She was nervous. And so a lot of people don't understand that there's so much more with the case that, you know, like people think that they have little tidbits in this. It's just, Cher, I think you already know at this point, there's a lot. So Dr. B coming up, I have no idea the point of that. I've never talked to her since. No idea she existed. No idea she existed afterwards. No idea when she stopped talking to the Watts or why. We never had that conversation. I have no clue. None whatsoever. But I do see this comment about what she said about us on the call. She'll do anything to answer the questions. I mean, you can have that opinion, Mama Bear, that I screwed this family over, but I talked to Cindy today, and she flat out said, if you were in Colorado, this would not have happened the way it did. I wish you would have been there. So you can have a strong opinion about what that is. But again, when I did my, I'm not talking to the Watts right now, Cindy texted me, "I love you," as I was doing that. She's like, "I heard you. Kim, I love you so much." So again, I don't, people just don't, there's so much more. People just know bits and pieces. That's all I could say. Like, I mean, like I said, I had no idea those people were until that phone call. I've never talked to them since then. No idea. No idea.
Oh,
But I mean,
yeah, that's a lot, you guys. And like we were talking earlier, we have all this stuff in our head, and it's so hard to get out because we have these personal calls. And then, like me, I pick up on the games people are playing. It's just too much to even get out there. This is going to let people in the chat are getting rude, and I don't even know who's.
Well, and that to me is a point of that. Like her coming on, I've never spoken to that chick since. No idea about her. I know nothing about her.
Dr. B is a good friend of mine, as well as Caffeine.
We can have that conversation offline. Like that could be her to come on. I mean, that to me, I don't understand. I don't understand the behavior of people like that. Like I've never heard one word from her since that day. If she's got all this built up emotion,
I wish it. Yeah, I
have a conversation like adults later. I don't think that to me.
I hope you guys can, because I did see all of what they were doing, and a lot of people were wondering, well, what the heck? Why didn't the Watts, like, why did they just push Dr. B? Because everyone knew what they were doing, and it was great work what they were doing, and a lot daily work. So I know that was a huge question with everyone, and I'm sorry, I should have asked if it was okay to open up the panel, and I do and did like a little bit of the back and forth, because we all want answers, but I don't want people in the chat slinging names at anyone, Dr. B or KK or whatever.
I never knew that she stopped talking to them. Like I said, I didn't even know that she talked to them to begin with. I knew nothing about her. I had no idea that she even existed still, or that they stopped talking to her. I don't know any of that. None. I don't need to talk to you, obviously. There's no point. I mean, I haven't talked to you for a year, and based upon that interaction, I'm not like you guys here on the internet. I don't need to explain my interaction with the Watts. If you are concerned about something with Cindy and what they did, talk to them. That's it. Like, I don't need to explain to you what Cindy's talked. I have no idea what she told you. Obviously, I didn't even know you existed in their world at all. So that to me is going to be a pointless conversation. The fact that you stopped talking to them, no idea. No idea when, no idea how, no idea what, nothing. Zero. I know nothing about that. None.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like I said, if that was an issue a year ago, a year and a half ago, whenever we talked, she could message me a year and a half ago. I mean, I literally just told there wasn't a point for us to work. I mean, Jamie just wanted us to know each other's sides and see if there was something that we could do together. But I was telling Jamie, I said, they're looking at more of how this crime happened and who was involved. I'm looking at more of the legal stuff that was done wrong to get Chris a 35C. And that is two very, very, very different things. And people on my channel have confused that. Why don't you talk about NK or these people? I'm like, I'm not here to convict people. I'm here if Chris is wanting a 35C and legally we can get him one. That's all I care about. Everything else, let the courts handle it. I'm not a judge. I don't care about those details. Nothing. Get him back in front of the court and make the prosecution build their case. And if you want to work the prosecution to help them build a case, perfect. But that's not why I was ever part of this, ever. I don't care about the prosecution. I care about them having to prove their own stuff. I'm not going to supply them with information that I think they should look into. They should do it themselves. That's their job. I think that they did their job wrong to begin with, and things have been done differently, and I want them to make them do their own job. So yeah, I wouldn't help them for sure on that aspect, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, anything with, I guess I don't know. So Dr. B, I guess there's not a point. If there's things you want to work out with Cindy and your relationship with her, that's between you guys. I don't want to speak for Cindy. I don't have answers.
All right, we
for that.
have Teresa S up here. Hello, Teresa.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Teresa.
Okay, so although I do have some questions pertaining to some of the topic that you guys were just discussing, I actually popped up because I would like to get to the bottom of the Heather Nikki stuff, because I think that if we compare some notes, we could get there. Kim, offline, I would love to have a conversation with you about the whole Anna thing, because I think that there's some discrepancies there.
Yeah, like I said, I just spoke with her the other day. I haven't spoken with her literally in 5 years.
Yeah, there was just like a comment that was made when you were on Jay's channel, something about it was an orchestrated effort to remove Anna.
Yeah, like I said, I'll definitely talk about that. I explained that to her online. It was, I will definitely, because I don't want to air out anything with Anna without her being a part
I
of
totally agree. That's why I
don't
talk about that offline. Yeah, because I love Anna to pieces, and I want to make sure that we can figure that one out. But
absolutely.
I want to talk about the Heather Nikki stuff. I don't know if you guys want to talk about that, or you guys want to talk about this stuff still.
And I'll say this: I don't know who Nikki is. I know nothing about her, and I know nothing about if they have a relationship together or whatever that is. I don't know.
That's one.
Wait a minute. I gotta say something.
Yeah.
Kim, you said, okay, Nikki. What Nikki are we talking about? Because I
Nikki
am
MYOB.
damn confused here. Okay, yeah, I don't know her either. Okay, carry on.
Okay, so there's one person that has taken on multiple personas.
Okay.
So the person that when you were live the other day, Kim, you were talking about the way that they type, and you were showing me all that in the chat. I don't know if you remember that. That person is Nikki Mayo. Heather Mary. That's her name. Her real name in real life is Heather Mary, and I can say her last name, but I don't know if that's okay. So I won't do that.
Then she must be somehow tied to Kimberly, because that's Kimberly. The only person I know that writes like that is Kimberly. That'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, it's 100% her. Like without a doubt, it's Heather Mary. I've had many posts up in my groups about this Heather Mary pretending to be Nikki Mayo, pretending to be Annie McGee. That's another one that she liked to be.
Wait a minute.
Nikki Zimmerman.
Wait a minute. So you know that Kimberly. Wait. So that's gonna blow my mind then for a second. Hold on.
Which is why I wanted to come up here.
So yeah. Holy, my mods. Where are my mods at? Because they have more. They have this all documented, like to the gods. Okay, so Kimberly. Do you know who Kimberly is then at all?
I know who Kimberly. Yeah, I know Kimberly G. Yeah, I know who she is.
Okay, so Annie supposedly was her cousin, but they're the same person. They're like that's like a alt of Kimberly G's. Are you saying that's not true?
Oh, so my question for you actually was, if you remember on your live, you were talking about that this person was contacting you from like multiple numbers.
Yes.
And then yesterday you were actually showing some screenshots of the conversations you had with her.
Yes.
The first screenshots that you showed, the punctuation isn't like that. And then I think it's the second or the third one you showed, the punctuation is like that. So my big question, because I was watching it on replay, so I didn't get to ask you, were those from two separate phone numbers?
Okay. Let's see. So she had messaged me and the Watts from 2 different phone numbers. But the ones I showed last night were all from the same phone number.
Okay, so that's interesting because that first one, the punctuation isn't all funky like that. So here's my thought, and you guys can tell me that I'm totally crazy or not or whatever.
Teresa, sometimes it's not the when she uses voice text. When she's driving, she'll voice text, and that's the only time I've seen her punctuation be normal.
Huh?
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If she's hand typing, I think it's different. And I've tried to find anything that would show that that's a app or something. I can't find anything.
So the Kim G that you spoke to when you very, very first spoke to her, who gave you her phone number?
Chris.
Okay.
And then when I showed Chris all the pictures, all the stuff about her, he's like, yes, that's who I've seen on Zoom. So the Kimberly that I know that I have spoken to, that I know all about her a lot, she's the one that said, my cousin's Annie, my uncle's this. That's the one that Chris has spoken to. That's the one that the Watts have spoken to. That's the one who I've spoken to.
Okay. So that's, I think, the missing piece that I have then, because I don't know how, because 100% Annie McGee is Heather Mary, and it could be used by multiple people. So don't get me wrong. But I know Annie McGee is one of her alts.
Well, then that would be Kimberly.
But that's Heather Mary. And I know that because we know who Heather Mary is. Heather Mary's been in groups since the get-go.
So is Kimberly. So maybe they're working together. I don't know. That's weird. Because here's a weird, wait, hold on. That's been blowing my mind. Because Kimberly, when Annie first messaged Ronnie, I have the message. Annie first messaged Ronnie and said, my cousin Kimberly is talking to Chris. And she said, my dad's a Florida Supreme Court judge, blah, blah. And then, yeah, that's weird.
So Heather Mary has a cousin named Kimberly A. Griffin, Griffin.
Well, then of course they're working. Well, then there you go. That's
not Griffith, which is the Kimberly Griffith that's on the visitor list.
Okay, but hold on a second though. Is she typing it wrong because Kimberly?
Oh no! This doesn't have anything to do with her typing anything. This is research and being able to put all the pieces together. Because this Heather Mary, like I said, she's been around for a little while, and she became Nikki Myob, MYOB, that went on to Cher's trying to tell Cher that she was an ex-coworker of Shanann's, and she knew Chris and Shanann before the whole thing. And as soon as that happened, I was like, you're fake. So then I went into research mode, and this is what I was able to piece together.
Okay, so
how they would actually be tied to the real Kim G, I'm not sure, because obviously Kim G is real. She is real, since you have to follow all the documentation. I'm trying to figure out if you were talking to the real Kim G the entire time. And one of the things I asked too was the letter that
number the whole entire time. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the letter. You got the letter from Kim G. So somebody
2 months earlier.
So who, I would need to know, who else did she send that letter to? Because that letter came back from somebody else.
A lot of people. I had a girl reach out to me from Facebook that she had talked to in February. And was sending letters and phone calls to in February. So to my knowledge, there's numerous, like I said, I was telling this to Cher. This is so confusing. So Annie messaged Ronnie. Ronnie sent me the message and said, what's going on? I looked at my phone. I instantly said, that's Kimberly. I said, the punctuation's the same. I sent him a screenshot of my conversation with Kimberly, and he was like, dang, what's going on with that?
And the conversations you had with Kimberly are from the same phone number that you got from Chris.
Yes. And the same one the Watts were talking to her under. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And so she only changed it. She changed one originally in the very beginning, and then I can probably go back and see when she changed it. But then she changed it to the last 4 was only 1 number off, and I was like, that's bizarre, because we were having a problem when we were first communicating with her, because the phone would disconnect and say this phone number is no longer in service, and then Ronnie would be like, can you get a hold of her? And then I'd call her 15 minutes later and it'd be working, and I'm like, what the heck? So We thought it was like
Did Chris ever have an issue with getting a hold of Kim G?
Yes, all the time. Yeah. I mean, she could. I've only ever talked to her when she's driving in her car. That's the only time she can talk to me when she's driving in her car.
Oh yeah, because her husband was home, so she couldn't talk to him. I mean, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. So good.
I know. I'm just thinking in my head. I'm trying to put it all together because somehow So Heather Mary is Nikki Myob, who is also Annie McGee. So then there's a tie to the Annie McGee to the Kim G.
Well, then they're all the same part. They're all So here's my point: is if you're saying that Nikki person or whoever is real and their cousin something, then they must be related because Annie McGee is not real. That's
Annie
Charles
McGee is not
Kennedy's
real.
Daughter who is in a wheelchair. They have nothing to do with this. They've been contacted. They have nothing to do with this.
Right. And then I want to make sure that the chat knows, like, the Heathers are two separate Heathers. There's Heather from Unmurdered and there's Heather Mary. That Heather Mary is not Heather from Unmurdered. Even though I do believe they were friends. I don't know if they still are. I don't follow that, so I don't know. But
and
Nikki
I know
Myob is the one who made up the stories about talking to Chris and being friends with Chris and Shanann before the murders, and that, you know, the reason she still talked to him was because they were already friends. And she even reached out to Jamie like 2 years ago.
I have a question. So, did you ever see Annie's profile on Facebook?
Oh yeah, I have all the pictures. So they're actually just downloads from Google.
Okay, so wait a minute. So Annie on that profile in group said that I have this messages. She said on that profile that she knew Chris and Shanann before the murders.
Right.
So
which
you're
is
saying
which is also what Heather Mary says.
Right. I've been trying to tell you this, Kim. I feel like I'm telling you this and you're choosing not to listen.
No.
It's confusing.
Well, I didn't know that there was.
I said it pretty clearly, and it's like she doesn't want to.
No, it's not that. It's that to me, I keep thinking that Kimberly is all of them, but you are saying that there is another person who is.
I am 100% positive. No questions asked. I can send you all the screenshots. Heather Mary is Nikki Myob, is Annie McGee, is Nikki Zimmerman.
But then Kimberly is also Annie McGee. So that must be then those two people that are real, which is Kimberly and then sounds like Heather. Then those two people are the people that are doing all this craziness. It has to be. I mean, that's because Kimberly has access to Annie McGee. She was on my YouTube.
I need you to realize, like, Kim, I'm sorry, this makes you look like you're a part of it because everything Teresa's saying is everything I told you, and it's so clear to see.
No, but that's the thing is I don't know these people on the back end. I don't know, like you when you were saying Nikki is Heather. I didn't know that there was another actual other second person, like a real.
You didn't because you were trying to say like Kim G isn't Heather from Unmurdered, so that's why I was trying. I want to make sure that everybody knows there's two Heathers.
Right.
The Heathers do know each other, but there's two Heathers.
But what I'm saying, where you didn't explain to me is they've been using the Annie profile because all I knew was Kimberly was the only person who used the Annie profile. If there's somebody else using that profile, then we have more information to go on because all I knew was that Kimberly G was using that profile only.
Well, that's what I want to figure out. Was Kimberly G ever actually using the profile, or was somebody impersonating Kimberly G telling you they were Kimberly G, but they really weren't. They were Heather Mary.
Oh, that's a good. I don't know that because I know that on YouTube. Well, I can say this. Her YouTube, Kimberly G has been on my panel twice.
Right.
Wait.
But
Kimberly
once she was on there,
G
she was on there as Annie M.
Wait, what did you say?
One time when she was on your panel, she was on there as Annie M.
Yes, she was. So that's what I'm saying. If there's another person who's able to use that Annie profile, that's the part with share that I didn't get from you, that there's somebody else who uses that profile because I know for a fact Kimberly uses it.
I have pictures of all of them. So I know they're all separate people. Now the question is who's impersonating who to send out what is another issue.
That's a bigger question.
A bigger question popped up yesterday when we found out that Zoom picture of Chris was actually going around in Denver in February when the Denver trip happened. So it's not a new picture, and it's not from Kimberly G.
Wait a minute. Well, there's only like 5 people on hit. I think that
Correct.
picture was from Kimberly G. Like that's who originally had it. Whose picture was? Wait. Okay, now I'm confused.
Right, me too.
Because there's only been so many people on his visitors list. So
Yeah.
Kimberly did not take that picture of Chris.
I can't prove that one. I can't say that for 100% certainty, but the people who had it were not attached to Kimberly G. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. One starts with a K and ends with an L-E. So,
but let me say this though. They've been, I literally had a girl reach out that and I can reach out to her after this to confirm what she was sent to her. I know that Kimberly has been sending out video or audio and letters and stuff about Chris for months. So it was.
Do we know she's the one sending it?
Oh yeah, because I can put my email right now. This girl asked me, I'll tell you the date of it. Hold on a second.
I can assure you the Watts are not leaking shit. I can assure you that the things that are not out there in the media, they don't want out there in the media.
Well, they didn't even have it all.
On to what they want to. Yeah, they are not leaking anything. You guys are crazy. Look at the other family for that. Not the Watts. Sorry.
Oh, they didn't even have all of it,
Right.
So that's ridiculous.
So this email was sent to me. The follow-up after everything. So it started in January 20th to April 28th. I've been contacted by Annie McGee on Facebook, and she's been sending me letters and phone calls of Chris. So this person, they've been talking. She's been doing this for months. I can show you even people
but
that.
Is it really her?
Well, it was the Annie McGee profile until I told Kimberly that people tried to post in my group information that she was not attached to Charles Kennedy. And that's when she stopped talking to me and changed her number, disconnected her phone number. And so I don't know. And then she disconnected the Facebook profile that day. So I don't know. Because I confronted her about it being shared in my group.
Did you confront her on the phone where you heard her voice?
No, we were on text message. The same phone number we've always texted through. All of our conversations, like Gino's on it, is one long text thread from the very, I think that she's had this number for, hold on, I could probably tell you when she changed. It was the same time she changed with the Watts. The numbers that I've been talking to her on is the same number the Watts had, the same number that Chris was.
Not the one number different. And not via email, because this email thing, so this person who's in all these creators' email boxes, is spelling Kimberly Griffith wrong.
No, but I'll explain that to you. That's Kimberly.
Okay.
That's Kimberly, because I have the message where she reached out to me when I messaged her so the email that she used to come in my lives, I messaged her May 10th and said, "Hey girl, I haven't heard from you. Okay?" Because her number got disconnected. I'm like, "Your number is not in service. We can't get in touch with you. Are you okay?" She replied back. Then when she replied, it came up with the Kimberly Griffith, but the last name was spelled funky. And I tried to explain this to Cher that she did that to her Instagram account as well, changed the spelling of her first name so people couldn't find her as easy. But in my email thread, the same iCloud email, her last name is spelled the last couple letters are funky, but it's kind of been her MO to do that. But it's the same email, the same person that came on, the same email that was used for me to send a link to for her to come on my panel, on my channel, same thing. So unless someone's using that afterwards, I have no idea.
So when she very first emailed you with that one, it was the correct spelling?
Nope. I don't know that let me look. Because it's the same email that she came on. I really haven't paid attention until today. Let's see. Let me look at my email.
And I know that Dave and Larry don't want to give up their source of where they were getting the information. So
I already know how they got that, because I think Cindy told me that today. Someone told me that today.
You guys, I hate to end this. Are you going to continue going live on your channel, KK?
I am going at 6 o'clock. Yeah.
At 6 o'clock. All right. So
KK, I'll be live on Unmasked at 5:30 my time, so I won't be able to join.
Okay.
So Teresa, what time is it your time right now?
4:30.
Okay. Do you want to jump off here and I can call you real quick?
Sounds good.
Or send you anything? So Cher, do you want to send her my phone number?
Yes, I will.
Okay, cool.
Thank
This is what I'm
you.
saying. A lot of people aren't going to understand this for the most part. So it's confusing being
It's
online
very
talking
hard to
about
get
it.
out for sure.
Yeah, it's so hard. And Cher, I didn't even be disrespectful about Dr. B. I just know nothing about her. I have no idea what she's talking. I don't know what to say about that. I'm sorry about that because I don't like,
I mean,
how I am. I don't like
want
that kind of stuff.
not to be a bitch or anything, but I feel like you do know. But it's I don't know, whatever.
Well, I don't know anything about that. I've never talked to her since then. None of the Watts, Cindy, they don't talk about people like that. There's certain people they ask me to look into and talk about. Once I messaged Jamie after that conversation, I said, it's best that they keep doing what they do. I'll do what I do. I don't think I ever one time talked to Jamie about her after that I know of, ever. I can even tell you how many people were on there, who was on there that day. Just that girl. That's who Jamie asked me to speak to. That's it.
Saskatchewan, Anita, not Switzerland. Before I end this, I just want to say that
Unmurdered is on Team Unmurdered 1 is saying Unmurdered is not friends with MYOB, just FYI.
Oh, shut the F up and get out of here. If you think I'm going to believe that get out of here. Seriously, get lost. Please.
Why is that actually Unmurdered? I don't know.
Yeah, it probably is, or her mom or her cousin or whatever.
Or
I'll
Annie
be nice.
McGee.
Or Annie McGee or Kim G, or for all I know, you're pretending to be KK2, or I don't know who. Bye, Heather.
Okay, Teresa, get my number from Cher and we'll talk after this.
Yeah, I'll send it
sounds
right
good.
after.
All right, thank you guys for letting me come up.
Yep.
With something that the Watts family said, and really what they want to gain out of this is that they don't want this to happen to another family.
Right. That's the whole point. Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Terrible. That's why, I don't do this with people.
Okay, so their exact text message from the Watts to end this is how I'll end it, and it's they don't want this to happen to another family, and to be the change everyone's talking about. And also they actually addressed my husband's video that he recently did. So be the change. Please, everyone, talk outside of this. We got a bunch of lives after this shortly. Unmasked, KK, and whoever else is live. It's always a hot spot on the weekend. So, Kim, I appreciate you coming up here.
You're welcome.
It's hard. Teresa,
That's hard. It's fine.
Thank you, everyone in chat. Some of you were mean, but whatever. But the only way we're gonna get answers is if everyone's talking and debating and whatever, and nobody is bragging about talking to the Watts, by the way.
No,
that's not, I don't think it's something to brag about. And to be honest, I never have to have direct communication with Chris. I'm fine with that because that's not what my mission is. My mission is to help humanize a family again and stop this. What you guys are, Watts Circus, for God's sakes, is what it's called. So I don't want them to be circus animals anymore.
Right.
And I appreciate the Watts having trust in my family here and to be sharing what they've been sharing with us.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't think any truth. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be known about the whole letter, girl. I really don't.
Right.
I think that's some secret behind the scenes. And just to be honest, I think it was sold. I think it was sold to someone.
I think it was sold also.
Yeah. That's what I believe. I don't know yet, but that's the only thing that makes sense.
So I'm going to end it with that. And thank you, all the new members. Thank you for the super chats. Thanks again, Kim. Sorry it was a circus. Thanks, Dr. B. Everyone who came on panel and had, I think it was mostly a good debate. I really do. I think it was good for the chat to happen, even though everyone is 600 people in here almost at one point, and everyone's just as lost as each other, really. So,
well, maybe we could put some of the pieces together where we can actually figure it out and then do something where we can put it all out there once we actually know who everybody really is and where they actually belong.
Absolutely.
Ain't that the point of true crime community after all?
Right, for sure. Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
You're welcome.
And,
I'll talk to you soon, Teresa.
I'll see
sounds
everyone
good.
later.
Okay, bye.
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 Bye.